Hello everybody, welcome. Come on in and let's talk. Okay, we had a few videos now which, although in a serious vein, was about Harry and Meghan. Those two non-entities, those completely irrelevant to people. So in a way, we wasted a bit of breath for a few days, and therefore we are going to get back to the truly important stuff today. Before I took those 4 days off last week, one of you posted a comment saying, "You are here to listen to me talk about the royals and not about geopolitics, and that I should thus not talk about geopolitics." Well, I did not really take offense because the comment was at least semi-polite. However, one cannot in no way make a serious video about the royals without touching on geopolitics. And someone else said I should stop lecturing you. You will all decide for yourselves. Well, what am I here for then? But to share or give you information you may not have had before. Also, do you think I have all the information I share with you at the tip of my fingers? 8 years worth of work almost every day is indeed a bit much, I would say. Yes, I guess I store the gist of it, but names and dates and events, I often have to go look up again and again and again. I also work with an Oxford dictionary. Sometimes I use Google Translate or Press Reader or Gemini, and I subscribe to at least 3 online newspapers at any given time. For me, it is commonplace. I may go through the Express's headlines while I'm in the bath, or I read the Daily Mail while I'm awaiting for something to upload. But I do know that many other people still have children at school, or they work full time, or their eyes have weakened to the point where they cannot read a newspaper on their phones anymore. And hence they come to YouTube and on my channel. There also appeared to be a community within a community on this channel where you actually chat to each other. And you know, that is really great. Something a newspaper or magazine cannot and does not provide you. So yes, forums like YouTube has indeed a great and very important place in society. And that whether old has no balls agrees with it or not. So, in light of what I just said, let me give you the real definition of geopolitics. Geopolitics is the study of how geography, economics, and culture influence international politics and state power. Synonyms and related concepts are things like international relations, foreign policy and strategy, etc., etc. But I think the main word in all of this is international. And whether that person likes it or not, but I am an international citizen. I may not live in your country, but I'm still a citizen of Earth, okay? I'm only joking, okay. So according to the palace, King Charles's role in geopolitics includes, number 1, balancing diplomatic relations. He plays a pivotal role in maintaining relationships between the United Kingdom and its international partners. He hosts diplomatic events like state dinners, and he receives ambassadors to the country on a regular basis. Number 2, he is indeed the head of the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth now I think consists of 54 countries, I'm not sure. Number 3, environmental advocacy. Charles is indeed a well-known environmental campaigner. Okay. Number 4, he uses interfaith dialogue as a tool to improve international relations. Although I must add that this is the palace's spin on it. I have a slightly different spin, but this is what they said, and I'm just conveying this to you, okay, verbatim. So there you have it. They added, I think, 2 more items, but I thought it was just talk for the sake of talking. It didn't mean much. The point has indeed now been made. You cannot talk about the King of England and not talk about geopolitics. It is indeed impossible. Besides, it is the British government sending Charles to the United States for a state visit and not me. But it is my job, if I have a royal channel, to talk about this state visit, which includes geopolitics. Okay, now talking about geopolitics and Charles and his visit to the United States. One of my regular contributors contacted me over the weekend with the news that there is indeed big, and I mean big, consternation in the palaces, and I'm going to be rather blunt about it, or about part of it for now. Charles should not be visiting the United States at this time. Yes, I know King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima did, but that is them. We are talking about the British monarchy here. The Dutch Parliament had their reasons and the British Parliament have theirs. The two royal houses are miles apart in strategy, PR, and politics. Yes, politics. You heard me right. So we shouldn't compare apples and bananas here. King Willem-Alexander, for instance, had held a job, although a secret one, for many, many years. And even as king, he had worked for KLM as a first officer since the 1990s, flying first Fokker 70s for KLM, after which he transitioned to 737s, and finally he flew an Airbus A321. He took pleasure in the fact that once in uniform it was seldom that people recognized him, and he made in-flight announcements without mentioning his name, and to top it all, he is still taking part in sporting events under the name W.A. van Buren. So yes, the two men are completely different, and so are the countries. Charles has been warned and practically begged not to go to the United States next week. But before we continue on with that, let's quickly talk about Charles addressing the nation tomorrow on the Queen's 100th birthday. Now do not be fooled. This speech will not be live. It will be a recorded message. Now, from the powers who know, and I mean sometimes they know everything and sometimes they know jack shit. It depends on how they feel on any given day. And yep, I am talking about Buckingham Palace courtiers and their media centre. Well, according to them, the king will reflect on his mother's life well lived. He will focus on her 70-year reign, her unwavering sense of duty, and the personal inspiration she provided him and the royal family. I swear he wrote the briefing himself, but never mind. A significant element of Charles's address will be him renewing his own vow of service. Yes, I mean, talk about the old rotten narcissist making it all about himself once again. They should have given the job to celebrate the Queen's birthday to Anne or to Edward. In closing, the King's speech will be a celebration of her legacy and the values of fairness and well-being which she championed. In other words, he will close with a pompous word salad. Now, as you know, it will be a 2-day celebration, which will include the National Memorial unveiling, or they should rather have said that Charles and his buddy Keir will announce the final design after, 3 years? Okay. Then there will be a reception at Buckingham Palace where Charles and Camilla will host a reception for citizens turning 100 years old this year. Now, honestly, geez, I think Edward and Sophie would have been wonderful in this role. Sophie has just the right touch, that little bit of genuine empathy. Charlie and his bullshit factory again forgot that the Queen had other children as well, and again he tries to hog all the limelight, just like his daughter-in-law, Meghan Markle. And in doing so, he is indeed sucking all the life and fun and pleasure out of everything. And then there is the Her Life in Style exhibition at the King's Gallery, which features more than 300 items, including the Queen's wedding dress and other signature outfits. Now, okay, then in closing there is this. The King views this anniversary not just as a moment of grief, but as a public opportunity to anchor his own reign. You see, I told you, it was all about him. In the integrity and honesty he feels his mother embodied. Yes, indeed, old King Shopping Bags the Third, or shall we just shorten it to King Moneybags. I've already seen the Queen's clothing on display, and as for the rest, I'd rather give that a miss if you don't mind. Okay, so with that now done and dusted, let's continue the discussion about Charles's visit to our favourite warmonger Donald J. Trump, who blew a hole in one of Iran's ships today, although the ceasefire only ends on Wednesday. But never mind. First and foremost, the political timing in both the United Kingdom and the United States is indeed disastrous. Several United Kingdom members of Parliament have called for the trip to be cancelled. Their argument is that the visit can be seen as an endorsement of United States policies under the leadership of Donald J. Trump. In March, early March, because I saw the poll, 49% of Britons believed the trip should be cancelled, and by now it is likely more, because most Americans I know of indeed made it very clear. Trump says he does not have money for daycare. Trump made $911 billion cuts for federal Medicaid and CHIP, which will lead to millions of people losing their cover, etc., etc. But Trump can pull out all stops to accommodate an ailing, pompous king. Americans are not happy about this visit either. A creator said it in very simple terms. Trump wants to build a ballroom at the White House, and he wants to build an Arc de Trump, but he can't feed his soldiers in the Middle East. And I'll let that linger in the air. The chances are good that Charles will be heckled about Andrew and Epstein. There's thus the possibility of Charles being embarrassed in public. The same applies with his son Harry. It is just as likely that Charles will be asked about Harry and a possible reconciliation. And then there is the matter of Charles's health and safety. His health we have indeed already spoken about numerous times, but his safety, I'll just give you a few words. England, Starmer and Charles. What a winning combination. There are indeed fears that a radical of sorts will use this opportunity to remove three problems at the same time. And then as we step away from the more official narrative, we do step into the darker side of things. But I'm leaving that and the Marcus Anderson story for another video. So until then, please remember, stay safe. Take care of yourselves until we meet again on the next one. Bye.